Welcome to the deep dive. If you've been paying any attention to the creative tech space lately, well, you know you practically can't move without bumping into a new AI generative video tool.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
The market feels completely saturated. It seems like every week there's a new model or some staggering claim about
It's
photorealism.
not just saturation. It feels more like chaos
Yeah.
almost. And that speed, that constant change, that's the real challenge if you're trying to pick the best tool, right?
Exactly. How do you even benchmark something?
Because the tech is just advancing so incredibly fast. We're talking major improvements, monthly, sometimes weekly, it feels like.
Yeah.
Any review is almost out of date the moment it's published.
And there's the whole structure of the market too, right? A lot of these tools, the smaller ones you see popping up.
They're wrappers, basically.
Yeah, wrappers. They look slick. They have their own payment plan, but underneath.
Underneath, they're often using the same foundation models,
Hmm.
maybe from Stability AI, maybe someone else. They just
Yeah.
add a UI layer, maybe some specific prompt tweaks on top.
So understanding what's foundational versus just a feature layer, that's pretty crucial for you, the listener.
Absolutely. But the progress itself, like you said, it's real. It's huge. I mean, think back just a year ago. We were struggling with basic stuff like temporal consistency.
Oh, yeah. Characters changing outfits mid-scene or suddenly growing an extra finger.
Right. And now we're seeing tools that can actually simulate, realistic physics. They can keep subjects consistent across cuts. They offer really precise creative control. It's a massive shift, a seismic shift, really.
Okay, so that brings us to our mission today. We want to be your shortcut through all this noise. We've dug through a ton of detailed comparisons, looking at over a dozen major AI video generators.
Yeah, we're synthesizing the key takeaways.
Exactly. We're pulling out the critical bits of knowledge by looking at how they performed on some really tough, complex prompts. We're comparing features, costs, commercial readiness, basically the whole landscape.
The goal is to equip you. So, based on some pretty standardized testing, which tool really shines for your specific needs? Whether that's, I don't know, high-end filmmaking,
Or maybe corporate training videos.
yeah, or even just churning out social media content efficiently. We want to help pinpoint the right tool for the job.
Right. So let's unpack this, starting with the why. Why are we seeing billions of dollars, just immense amounts of computing power being thrown at these video generators right now?
Well, it always comes down to the basics, doesn't it? Fun and profit. Mostly profit, probably. I
Probably.
mean, look at the high end. You've got these venture-backed creative studios that are raising tens, sometimes hundreds of millions, and their explicit goal to challenge traditional Hollywood workflows.
Not necessarily replace people, but augment.
Exactly. They want to deliver comparable visual results, think establishing shots, complex visual effects, but at a tiny fraction of the traditional cost and time, and often without needing that super deep technical expertise of a seasoned VFX artist.
And then for, well, the rest of us, the time savings look pretty huge too. I'm thinking less about blockbusters and more about just augmenting everyday professional projects.
Totally.
Like, if I'm an editor working on a commercial, maybe I need a quick establishing shot I couldn't get on location, or a short insert cutaway, things that would normally take ages in post.
That augmentation piece is the immediate practical value, I think. Imagine creating, say, a simple 10-second product demo video, traditionally. That's storyboarding, shooting, maybe hiring models, renting gear, post-production, sound design.
Weeks of work, potentially.
Right. With generative AI, you might compress that whole cycle down to minutes. And let's not forget audio. The time saved just cleaning up bad location sound automatically or generating realistic ambient noise. That alone is massive.
So it slots into existing professional pipelines and just supercharges them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you're involved in any kind of content creation, YouTube, corporate training, marketing, whatever, understanding these tools isn't really optional anymore.
Okay, so that brings us to the testing itself, the methodology. If we know every model interprets prompts a bit differently, how do reviewers level the playing field? How do you get that apples-to-apples comparison?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. You basically have to standardize the input prompt, even if, say tool A likes long sentences and tool B prefers keywords. You need that consistent input to benchmark them objectively.
So what did the reviewers use?
They use a pretty rigorous method. It combines subjective scoring, human judgment with objective feature checks, like a checklist.
Let's break that down. The subjective side, what were the human reviewers actually looking for when they watched these generated videos?
It focused on four main things. First, accuracy, or really the lack of errors. Did the AI introduce weird objects, glitches, Inconsistent lighting that wasn't asked for.
Okay, so visual fidelity.
Right. Second, realism. Did it actually look photoreal?
Mm.
Or did it fall into that, uncanny valley, looking sort of like CGI, a bit off?
Mhm.
Consistency. This is a big one. Did the video maintain the character's identity? Did objects keep their shape? Did it stick to the details in the prompt throughout the entire shot?
Temporal consistency.
Yeah, exactly. And fourth, creativity. Was the result just accurate, or did the AI actually produce something interesting? Good composition, maybe an unexpected but cool visual flair.
Got it. And then the objective checklist, the nuts and bolts stuff.
Precisely. This is the practical side.
Right.
Does it have a free trial? What's the cheapest paid plan? Max resolution is at 1080p 4K. Max shot length. This varied wildly, like from 5 seconds up to 120 seconds.
Wow, 120 seconds is huge.
It is. Then, does it offer explicit camera controls? Pan, dolly, zoom? Can it do lip sync? Does it generate its own sound? These practical things often matter more for actual commercial use than just raw visual quality sometimes.
Okay, this is where we get into the real deep dive part, the cinematic city prompt. This wasn't just cat sitting on a mat.
Oh no. This prompt was brutal. It was specifically engineered to stress test these tools, to try and break them by demanding really complex physics, reflections, and spatial consistency, all at the same time.
So the goal was what? A futuristic city?
Yeah, a hyper-detailed cinematic shot. Futuristic coastal city, specifically at golden hour. But the required elements, that's where it gets tough. It forced the AI to juggle multiple interacting physics simulations within the same scene.
Okay, walk us through those demands. It wasn't just cityscape at sunset.
Far from it. First, motion. A sleek flying vehicle tracking over a wide river. The AI had to keep that vehicle looking consistent, following a path. Then, architecture. Neon-lit skyscrapers, okay, but with prismatic glass facades.
Meaning it had to calculate light refraction.
Exactly, and mirror-like water ripples. Again, complex fluid dynamics interacting with light. It's not just the texture.
And then there were even more specific things like algae.
Yep, specific cyan bioluminescent algae along the waterfront. Another layer of complex, self-illuminating texture. And depth control was key. The prompt demanded depth of field blur on crowds of, get this, human-android hybrids on pedestrian bridges.
So separating foreground from background, showing camera understanding.
Right. Which shows if the AI gets basic camera optics. And the lighting demands were intense, way beyond just sunlight.
Like what?
It asked for sunlight, filtering through lenticular clouds to create realistic, volumetric light rays, light shafts, plus precise bokeh effects from floating holographic advertisements in the foreground.
Okay, that's already incredibly complex.
And there's more. A slow push and reveal of a central tower that had to show caustic light patterns reflecting off that mirror-like water.
Okay, let's pause there. Why is asking for something like caustic light patterns or prismatic glass such a stress test? Why does that cause failures?
Because those aren't just textures you slap on. They're physics calculations. Caustics are those complex patterns of light concentration you see, like at the bottom of a swimming pool, caused by light refracting through a curved surface, like the water ripples.
Right.
For an AI to render that correctly, it needs a true 3D understanding of the city model, the water surface model, the light source position, and the moving camera. If it doesn't have that deep spatial and physical awareness, the caustics just look like random noise or weird light blobs. It can't fake it easily.
Got it. So even the stylistic demand, Blade Runner meets realistic architectural visualization, wasn't just fluff.
Nope. Hyper-realistic textures were demanded: wet concrete, condensation on glass, plus specific cinematic color grading. Teal shadows versus orange highlights, that classic Blade Runner look,
Yeah.
and a subtle motion blur during the pan, lens flare from the sun. It was designed intentionally to break things, to test composition, motion, and consistency to their limits across 10 different models.
Wow. Okay, that context makes the results we're about to discuss much more meaningful. But before we dive into which tool did what, let's touch on the crucial workflow tip that came out of all this testing.
Yes. This is probably the single most practical piece of advice for anyone starting to use these tools seriously. The consensus was really clear on this one.
Which is?
The most efficient way to work is to perfect the source, still frame the image first, before you ask the AI to add movement.
Why is that such a big deal? Walk us through the practical savings there.
Because generating video clips, especially complex ones, is massively expensive. It eats up credits, it takes a lot of processing time. But iterating on a single still image, that's cheap and fast.
Okay.
You can use something like Midjourney, or the image models often built into these video tools, and generate hundreds of variations of your starting frame for pennies. Maybe it takes you 5 minutes, until the composition, the lighting, the elements are exactly right.
And only then do you send it to the video model.
Exactly. Only once that single frame is perfect. Because regenerating that video clip, maybe it's 10 seconds, might cost you, say, $10 and take half an hour. Trying to iterate on the video itself by regenerating it over and over, that gets incredibly expensive and time-consuming fast. Starting with the perfect image saves a ton of time and money.
That's more than a shortcut. That sounds like essential cost control. Okay, good tip. Armed with that, let's get into the results. The Creative Generals, starting with Kling AI, how did it handle the stress test?
Kling AI, especially their 2.0 model, has really made huge strides. It's positioned as very filmmaker-friendly, focusing a lot on visual realism and, importantly, that temporal consistency. And in the Cinematic City test, it actually scored top marks for creativity and consistency. It handled the complexity better than most, genuinely.
So how did it do on those really specific, technical Blade Runner demands?
It mostly nailed it, honestly. The mirror-like water looked good, the reflections on the prismatic glass were there, the neon holograms, even the cyan algae. It all looked pretty consistent and high quality. The lighting also felt right, capturing that cinematic grading requested.
But the review mentioned one little flaw, right? It wasn't perfect.
Correct. The main visual glitch, the thing that cost it a perfect score, was this weird, unprompted object that suddenly shot upwards from the hero vehicle right before the sun rays blasted through. Just a momentary blip.
Like a physics error or something.
Yeah, a lapse in object permanence or maybe physics simulation. It just showed that even the best models can still, occasionally, throw in something nonsensical that wasn't in the prompt.
Okay. Beyond the test, what makes Kling stand out feature-wise?
Well, its feature set feels geared towards actual production. It has really good lip sync capabilities, which is obviously crucial for any dialogue. And it has a powerful shot extension feature. Now, it can generate clips up to 3 minutes long total, but it's important to understand how.
It's not one continuous 3-minute shot.
No, it stitches together smaller, consistent segments, which is actually smart, as it lets creators manage their credit usage better. It also offers custom face model training, that fun mochi-mochi meme effect for stylized stuff, and a huge range of camera perspectives, like 15 different options, giving you pretty precise directorial control.
And the practical side of using Kling, day to day.
The main thing noted was speed. Generation times can be slow. One reviewer mentioned a complex video on the free plan took something like 3 hours to generate during peak times.
Oof.
Yeah. But crucially, it offers a creativity slider. This lets you balance how strictly it follows your prompt versus how much artistic license it takes. That's a feature pros really appreciate for fine-tuning.
Okay, moving on. Google VO3. You called it the current industry benchmark. Why benchmark, especially given its limited access? What makes it stand out?
VO specs are just top tier right now, particularly length and resolution. It can hit a maximum output resolution of 4K that's essential for broadcast or high-end commercial stuff. And the max shot length goes up to 120 seconds.
2 minutes? That's a game changer.
It really is. We're not just talking 5-second clips anymore. This allows for entire, continuous dialogue scenes or really complex establishing shots.
But the real killer feature, you said, is the native audio. That's unique.
Absolutely revolutionary. VO3 is the first major tool to natively integrate high-quality sound effects, ambient noise, even dialogue, right into the generation process itself. Think about that workflow impact.
No more exporting, finding sound libraries, syncing everything up manually.
Exactly. That whole step could potentially just disappear or be dramatically reduced.
Is the sound quality actually good enough, or is it more of a gimmick?
It's surprisingly robust. I mean, professional sound design will still enhance it, for sure. The source mentions some fun examples like a badger talking to an owl or a detective quacking like a duck. But the key is that it generates contextual sound. If your prompt is a vehicle flying over a wet city, it will generate the right engine hum, wind noise, maybe some wet street sounds. That capability makes it incredibly powerful for fast turnaround content.
Right. Now we need to touch on access and ethics with Google.
Yes, access is tight and it's expensive. We're talking around $30 per minute of generated video, typically requiring their Ultra plan at $250 a month, and often there's a waitlist. Plus, Google mandates that all VO videos are marked not just with a visible watermark, but also as synthed.
Synthe, what is that exactly, and why is it so important for Google?
Synthed is a digital watermark embedded directly into the pixel data of the video. It's designed to be robust, meaning it can survive even if the video is cropped, compressed, or edited significantly.
So it's for traceability.
Exactly. It ensures the content can always be verified as AI generated. Google's pushing this hard to address concerns about deepfakes, misinformation, provenance. It signals their commitment to responsible AI deployment, which is a huge selling point for large enterprises worried about those risks.
Okay, makes sense. Let's talk about the pioneer now, Runway. How did their latest, Gen 4, handle that brutal city prompt?
Runway, yeah, the OG. Known for cool features like motion brush. On the cinematic city test, the very first few frames actually looked great. The light, the reflections on the buildings, visually strong start.
Right.
But as soon as things started moving, consistency just fell apart. The review said the cyan algae, instead of just being there, seemed to attack the scene. It morphed into weird, unrealistic shapes.
Okay.
The holograms looked kind of cheap, like basic templates. And it apparently generated these bath toy-looking boats that just materialized out of nowhere. So it really struggled with the hyperrealism and consistency demands of that complex prompt.
But despite that stumble on the really hard test, Runway is still a favorite for its feature set, right? Especially for post-production workflows.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly versatile. Features like motion brush,
Yeah.
where you can literally paint on the screen to tell specific areas how to move, the direction, the speed. That's super powerful. And we should probably explain their ACT features a bit more clearly.
Right. Tell us about Act 2.
Act 2 is fascinating. It's basically a performance replacement tool. You generate a scene, right? Then, without messing up the background or the camera movement, you can replace the performance of one character, change their clothes, make them do a different action, maybe even swap the actor entirely.
So it's like a precision deepfake tool for editors.
Pretty much, yeah. Designed for post-production fixes. Imagine avoiding a reshoot just by tweaking an action digitally. Act 1, on the other hand, is more about animating human movements from a static image for simpler actions.
And Runway is pushing hard into the film industry itself.
Very heavily. They have that partnership with Lionsgate, integrating AI into the actual production pipeline for things like rapid storyboarding, creating animatics, doing quick VFX passes. It shows they're serious about being a professional tool, even if complex prompts sometimes trip them up.
Okay. Now, the one that probably had the most initial hype, OpenAI Sora. Given all that buzz, how did it actually do on the standardized test?
This was honestly a bit of a shocker. Despite those amazing, carefully curated demo videos OpenAI released, Sora's performance on this generalized, complex prompt was, well, surprisingly poor. The reviewer literally described the output quality as reminiscent of early 2000s CGI.
Wow. Why do you think that is? A model known for stunning quality in demos failing on a complex task.
It seems the failure wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about logic. The output completely missed key elements. No hero vehicle, no algae. The timing was wrong, too dark, missing the golden hour request. And it had weird warping artifacts.
So it struggled with the complexity.
It suggested while Sora might be brilliant at generating beautiful textures and short, isolated vignettes, it struggles to maintain the complex spatial and physical relationships demanded by that prompt, the vehicle path, water ripples, prismatic light, all interacting over time. It didn't seem to grasp the underlying physics of the scene being requested.
And getting access to Sora is still a major issue, right?
It really is. Still no free trial. Video generation has apparently been on hold, even for new paying customers on the Pro plan, which is all $200 a month. And the max shot length is super limited, maybe 5 to 20 seconds.
Not great for longer stories.
No. They do offer features like Storyboard, where you can place prompts at specific time points and remixing styles, but until it's widely available and the length increases, it remains mostly theoretical for the average user.
Okay, last one in this creative generals category. Hello Minimax from China, the serious competitor. How did it fare?
Hailu was kind of the dark horse that really impressed on the standardized test. It delivered one of the best, most complete interpretations of that really tough cinematic city prompt.
Really? How's that?
The framing and storytelling were excellent. It started with the hero ship large in the foreground, giving a great sense of scale, then smoothly revealed the neon skyscrapers behind it. It handled the lighting, the textures, the reflections, the holograms really well. Very competent.
And its pricing model seems pretty user-friendly.
That's a huge advantage. It gives you 100 credits daily just for logging in. That's one of the most generous free plans out there. It really encourages experimentation and iteration, which is vital when you're learning.
Does it offer advanced controls?
Yes, it has a director mode for getting into the nitty-gritty details and also a character reference model. That lets you upload a picture to keep a specific person consistent across different shots. Super important for narrative work. The main limitation currently is a 6-second clip length.
Okay, that gives us a great picture of the big players fighting for that high-end creative space. But like you said earlier, not everyone's trying to recreate Blade Runner. Let's move into section 3 and talk about tools specializing in different workflows, starting with these all-in-one creative hubs.
Right. This trend is really interesting. Professionals are definitely feeling subscription fatigue, right? Juggling separate plans for images, video, music, sound effects, editing software. These hubs are trying to solve that pain point.
And Artlist was highlighted as the prime example, called the perfect package.
Artlist is basically a master aggregator. It's not just one model. It cleverly combines access to some of the newest, top-performing models they mentioned, VO3, Nano Banana, but bundles it with image generation, huge libraries of stock music and sound effects, AI voiceovers, templates, even an editing suite, all under one subscription, often modular.
So the value isn't just one killer feature, it's the integration.
Exactly. For a lot of commercial creators, having unlimited, legally cleared music and footage, plus access to multiple good AI generators, is way more practical than paying a premium for just one, potentially slightly better but isolated generator. This bundled, comprehensive approach, that might really be the future for mass-market Gen AI platforms.
What about the FreePic AI video generator? Similar idea.
Yeah, FreePic follows that aggregation model too, pulling in models like Flux, VO, Kling to offer variety. But the testing did flag an issue that highlights maybe some teething problems with these integrations.
Oh, what was that?
Their Sound FX feature was apparently buggy. It often generated just gibberish instead of useful sounds. It just shows that smoothly integrating all these different pieces isn't always straightforward. Stability can be an issue.
Okay, let's pivot now to a completely different category. Tools focusing purely on business, corporate training, and those AI avatars. Very different use case, different risk factors.
Absolutely. The avatar market is massive for enterprises. Why? Because it solves the problem of hiring expensive on-camera talent, dealing with schedules, and managing localization for global companies. Synthesia is the leader here.
And it's built specifically for corporate comms.
Explicitly. It sacrifices maybe the highest creative fidelity for high utility, consistency, and crucially, security.
What are its strengths in that corporate environment?
Scalability and reliability over long formats. It offers over 230 different hyper-realistic AI avatars, supports something like 140 plus languages, and it can generate incredibly long videos, up to 4 hours, with the avatar looking perfectly consistent the whole time. Think digital spokespeople for training modules, internal announcements, that sort of thing.
And you mentioned its ISO certification, ISO 42001. Why is that important for someone in a corporate role listening to this?
That certification is a big deal for enterprise buyers. ISO 42001 is a standard specifically for AI management systems covering security, risk management, ethical governance. For big companies, especially in regulated industries like finance or healthcare, having that certification is often a requirement. It signals that Synthesia takes security and compliance seriously, ensuring sensitive company data used in scripts isn't at risk. It's about credibility.
Okay. Then there's Hagen, focusing more on interaction.
Yeah, Hagen's niche is interactive avatars. This goes beyond just playing a pre-recorded video. You can create an avatar that responds in real time.
How does that work?
You can customize it and link it to a specific knowledge base, maybe your company's product documentation or FAQs. Then you could embed this avatar on your website, and it could answer customer questions with a custom video and audio response right there on the spot. Think next-level customer service bots or sales tools.
Interesting. Now, for scaling content creation, especially for influencers or brands, Argyle came up.
Argyle targets those serious content creators who need to pump out high volumes of personalized video. Their specialty is creating very realistic AI clones, or avatars, basically, AI influencers.
AI influencers.
Yeah, avatars that can move naturally, interact with virtual objects, deliver different scripts in various languages. It taps directly into the monetization potential we're seeing with virtual personalities.
Can you give an example of that monetization potential?
Well, the potential is scaling one personality across dozens of channels or languages simultaneously. The classic example, though not made with Argyle specifically, is Lil Miquela. She's a virtual influencer who reportedly generated over $10 million in 1 year from brand deals. Argyle aims to provide the tools for creators to build similar digital presences, essentially becoming content factories without human burnout. It's positioned as a co-pilot for scaling your content empire.
Right. And finally, in the commercial space, Adobe Firefly Video. The focus there is safety.
Entirely. Adobe's approach is all about commercial safety and intellectual property protection. Their Firefly models are trained only on Adobe stock images and other datasets they have explicitly licensed.
So no risk of copyright lawsuits.
That's the guarantee. For large agencies, big brands, That legal safety net is paramount. They know the output is IP friendly. The trade-off might be slightly lower visual quality compared to some others, or limitations like a current 5-second cap on length. The output is often more stylized than pure photorealism, but you get absolute peace of mind regarding legal use.
Makes sense for risk-averse companies. Okay, let's round out the tool review with the more experimental or high-control options. Luma Dream Machine, best for brainstorming.
Yeah, Luma seems optimized for that rapid iteration brainstorming phase. Its absolute visual fidelity might not always match the very top tier, but its motion fidelity is noted as being extremely high. Its real strengths are speed and interface.
How so?
It uses a model called Ray2 for fast image-to-video processing. And the interface itself is designed to be collaborative. It can dynamically rename projects based on content, suggest variations on your prompts. It helps you explore ideas quickly and break through creative blocks without burning through expensive credits.
And LTX Studio, tailored for filmmakers needing extreme control.
LTX Studio feels like it's built by filmmakers for filmmakers doing pre-visualization. It offers the most granular, extreme creative control. It works almost like a visual screenplay tool.
What can you do with it?
You can edit prompts scene by scene within a larger narrative structure. You can change character actions specifically within each scene. It can even generate full pitch decks from your visual plan. It's ideal if you're a filmmaker seeking funding or need to visualize complex sequences in high detail before you actually shoot anything. You're essentially directing an AI movie, shot by shot, on your computer.
That's pretty wild. Okay, so we've covered a huge range of tools. It's clear no single one is the best overall. Now, in Section 4, let's try to synthesize the key features that are emerging to tackle those core AI problems: consistency and control.
Right, because the biggest complaints you hear are always about consistency, objects morphing weirdly, characters changing appearance, flickering lighting.
Yeah.
The leading tools are building specific features to combat exactly that.
Like defining the start and end points.
Yes, exactly. Tools like Kling, Vdo, Adobe now let you specify the visual look of the start frame and the end frame. By locking those 2 points in, you give the AI much clearer visual guardrails to follow. It drastically improves consistency over the duration of the shot because the AI isn't just guessing where it needs to end up.
What about keeping a character looking the same across different shots or even different videos? That's crucial for stories.
Absolutely. That's where these reference features come in. Pika Labs calls it ingredients. Hilua has its subject reference model. They both let you upload an image, a person, an object, even a specific texture, and tell the AI, keep things looking like this. It maintains that visual likeness across multiple generations. Super important.
And interestingly, Luma was noted as being better than Pika at actually showing requested movement.
Yeah, that was a specific note. When it came to depicting a specific action, like a dance move or particular gesture, Luma seemed to execute the requested motion more accurately than Pika. Even if Pika's visual quality might sometimes be higher, it shows different models excel at different aspects.
Now, a really vital piece of advice came up about prompting, using specific cinematic language.
Yes. This cannot be stressed enough. These AIs aren't just random image generators anymore. They've been trained on vast libraries of movies and filmmaking techniques. So the advice is, talk to the AI like it's a camera operator, albeit a very literal one.
Don't just say shot of a city.
Right. Say slow push-in reveal of the city. Specify aerial shot. Use terms like shallow depth of field, demand golden hour lighting, mention compositional elements like leading lines. Models like Google's VO3 have shown real compositional awareness. They understand what these filmmaking terms mean, and they try to execute them.
That's a great tip. Okay, let's talk money. The cold, hard economic reality, pricing. Video generation is not cheap.
No, it's prohibitively expensive for many, honestly. That's because of the sheer computational power needed to process all that pixel data changing over time. It's way more intensive than still images. That necessity forces most companies into having pretty restrictive free plans and high subscription costs.
But there were a couple of exceptions, noted for being more generous.
Two stood out. Vdo apparently offers unlimited free generations during off-peak hours, which is amazing for hobbyists or students not on a deadline. And Hilua, with its 100 free daily credits just for logging in, is also very generous. But there's a funny anecdote about Pika Labs.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
The reviewer mentioned that when they went to cancel their paid Pika subscription, Pika immediately offered them a 50% discount to stay.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, it just shows how competitive this market is. These companies are fighting hard to acquire and keep paying users, which ultimately puts pressure on pricing and benefits us, the consumers.
Good point. Okay, we spent a lot of time on that super complex Blade Runner prompt. Let's wrap this section by looking at the results from a much simpler prompt. Two people looking at each other, one an AI robot, the other a woman. Background is space, mood is friendly, make them shake hands. How did the tools handle basic human interaction?
This test revealed a different kind of failure mode. Not visual complexity, but understanding subtle relationships and interactions.
Starting with Midjourney video. We know Midjourney is great for stills.
Right, and the video quality itself was high. Good camera movement, too. But it failed the prompt's mood. It injected this unprompted romantic vibe. The robot and the woman were generated looking like they were almost about to kiss.
Instead of just shaking hands friendly like.
Exactly. So it lost points because it didn't follow the friendly instruction. It suggests the AI's training data might have biases, maybe defaulting to romantic tropes when it sees two fleishes close together.
Interesting. What about Domo AI?
Domo AI's result was described as immature and inconsistent. The cyborg didn't look great, and it totally ignored the prompt by putting them in a sterile lab instead of space. But it did showcase a unique feature called screen keying.
Screen keying.
Yeah, it automatically added a green screen effect behind the characters, which makes them super easy to cut out and use in other backgrounds later in post-production. So a useful, practical feature, even if the initial generation wasn't great.
And lastly, Hunyuan V2 Pro had a fascinating cultural quirk.
Yeah, Hunyuan, which is backed by Tencent in China, was the only tool that generated an Asian woman shaking the robot's hand. All the others defaulted to Caucasian women. It's a stark reminder of how the geographic origin and demographic makeup of the training data directly impacts the visual output. Representation matters in datasets.
But its free trial was basically useless.
Pretty much. It gave you 1 credit, but generating a video cost 12 credits. So you couldn't actually test the video generation without paying immediately. Not a great way to attract new users.
Okay, wow. We've covered a ton of ground tools, features, tests. In this final section, section 5, let's try to synthesize the verdict. Based on everything, who seems to win in which category, and what does the future workflow look like?
Right, pulling it all together, the consensus based on the reviews and features seems to shape up like this, depending on your needs.
For overall best performance, especially with that audio integration.
That really has to be VO3 right now. The 4K, the 120-second length, and especially the native sound generation put it ahead in overall capability, despite the cost and access issues.
Okay, what about the best all-in-one package, the Creative Hub?
Artlist looks like the winner there. That modular approach, bundling top models with huge asset libraries and editing tools, offers incredible value, especially for commercial creators.
For pure creative filmmaking, focusing on motion and control.
It's kind of a dual win. Kling AI gets top marks for its motion fidelity, realism, and specific filmmaker features, but Runway also stays in the mix due to its versatility, advanced features like motion brush, and that unique Act 2 performance replacement.
Right. If your absolute priority is commercial safety, avoiding any IP issues.
There's Adobe Firefly, hands down. That guarantee of legally safe IP-friendly training data is crucial for risk-averse businesses and agencies.
And for beginners, or maybe social media creators needing fast, easy results.
Haper seem to be recommended there. Beginner-friendly interface, fast generations, and good for animation or shorter story-based clips where top-tier photorealism isn't the main goal.
So the big takeaway seems to be there's no single best tool. It really depends on the job.
Absolutely. And the reality is professional quality work will almost always involve using multiple tools in a chain. A composite workflow is pretty much essential.
Can you give an example of what that looks like?
Sure. A common high-end workflow might be generate the perfect still image in Midjourney first, then take that image to Runway to animate the core movement using Motion Brush, then maybe take that resulting clip over to Kling to add precise lip sync for dialogue.
Using each tool for its specific strength.
Exactly. You're patching the weaknesses of one tool with the strengths of another.
And for scaling content, especially for businesses or influencers, automation becomes key.
That's where the real efficiency gains happen, building those content empires. Instead of manually exporting and importing, you connect tools like Argyle or Haper directly to automation platforms like Make.com or Zapier.
And what does that enable?
It lets you set up pipelines, automatically turn spreadsheet data, like competitor analysis, into dozens of short comparison videos, or instantly convert a long PDF report into a summary video narrated by an AI avatar. You're cutting production cycles that took days down to potentially just minutes. That's AI as a true scaling co-pilot.
So the future is fundamentally hybrid. It's not AI replacing humans, but humans directing AI.
Yes, exactly. Human creativity, strategic input, oversight that remains essential. These tools are powerful engines, but they need a driver. They let creators scale their vision, produce more ambitious work without burnout, freeing them up to focus on the core creative direction.
And this whole space is just a constant race, isn't it? No one company seems miles ahead for long.
Not at all. It's incredibly dynamic. The best features get copied or leapfrogged really quickly. It keeps everyone pushing forward.
Now, thinking back to that incredibly complex cinematic city prompt, its difficulty revealed something really important about where the tech's main challenge lies now, didn't it?
It really did. The problem isn't just generating a beautiful image anymore. Honestly, that problem is largely solved. We can get stunning visuals.
So what is the challenge?
It's maintaining scene logic, physics, and consistency over time. Generating 5 seconds of gorgeous visuals, manageable. Generating 30 seconds where shadows move correctly, objects obey physics, characters stay consistent, and the narrative action makes logical sense. That's the real frontier now.
The models still lack a deep understanding of the world.
Exactly, a true world model. They can mimic the surface appearance brilliantly, but they struggle with the underlying rules of reality, especially over longer durations.
So wrapping this up, what does this mean for you, the listener, as you figure out how to integrate these powerful new co-pilots into your own work? We've seen AI can generate incredible things, but it also fails in weird and wonderful ways. If AI solves the raw creation part, does the future of video production just become, well, the hyper-specific, meticulous job of being an AI director and editor? Spending our time correcting the AI's inevitable logical flaws and creative missteps?
That really is the big question hanging over all of this, isn't it? Are we moving from being solely creators to becoming, perhaps primarily, conductors and curators of artificial intelligence? It's something to think about.
Indeed it is. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.